Hey guys, it's me, Kinghuman, and I'm going to try and get your mind right, get you set, get you on the path, because I know what I'm talking about. Been there, done that, done with being a battery in the matrix, done with being a tool for society and corporate institutions that just want to monetize and manipulate me. So, I've posted some previous videos on this whole resetting your mind thing because we have been programmed from birth. We haven't had a chance. We never had a chance. We were programmed from birth to be cogs in the machine, to be batteries in the matrix. Why? Because the giant institutions, the giant corporations, the giant social institutions out there even want us to be cogs in the machine because we are a cash crop. People are a cash crop. We have extreme value to these institutions out there, and they don't want us to be independent. They want us to be dependent. They teach us how to go out and get a JOB, stands for just over broke, so that they can basically have us as an indentured servant. We go on these jobs. First of all, we go to a school, right? I just got an email from a guy who was bitching to me because he said, Kinghuman, here's the situation. I desperately need your help. I decided to join your Kinghuman elite group, and I'm desperately looking to make extra income. To make a long story short, I'm only making about $1,200 a month. I'm drowning in debt, and my student loans are about to come due. Just graduated college. Perfect example. Here's a guy who the system screwed up the ass. He believed in it. The system came out and said, look, dude, if you want to be a success in life, you got to come to our institution and go through this training. And we give you a piece of paper, it's called a diploma. And at the end of it, once you have this diploma, you'll be able to get a great job and have a career, and you'll have a great life. So this guy does it, right? He goes through the process. He gets his little piece of paper. He gets his validation stamped on his head by this institution. But he's in debt up to his ass because in order to go through that institution that charged him a shit ton of money, he had to get a student loan. Now he's burdened with a high interest student loan. So even if he has a better job than he could have gotten without an education, this student loan is sucking off all of that money, that extra money that he makes as a better wage earner in his JOB. Guy's making $1,200 a month. What good was college to him? It screwed him. Not only does he not have a great job, but he's in debt up to his ass with this student loan. So now that societal construct, that societal programming institution took this guy and monetized him to the point where he's an indentured servant. He is a slave. It makes me so crazy to see that kind of thing. I mean, people are being mass monetized and mass manipulated just for the sake of money. And it drives me crazy. These poor people, they don't even realize what's happening to them. And that's why you have to realign your thinking. There are a lot of institutions out there that want us to be batteries in the matrix, cogs in the machine, so that they can do just what happened to this guy. They can monetize us and they can manipulate us. Another institution, the actual country we live in. If you live in the United States, here's a rude awakening. Let's say, because I just got really pissed off, because I had to write a huge tax check. A huge check to the IRS. Huge! Most people can't make that kind of money in several years. And I just have to give it to the IRS. Pisses me off. So let's say I want to just go to another country. Let's say I just want to move to the Cayman Islands where there's no income tax. I can't do it because the government says they own me. I am a product that this country owns. I can't just, everybody says it's a free country, right? Well, it's not. You are a monetized product that is owned. So I can't just get up and move to the Cayman Islands and say, okay, now that I live here, I don't owe the U.S. any more tax. Done. No, I have to renounce my citizenship. So in order to do that, first of all, right off the top, they're going to charge me $2,500, which if it would be worth it, right? But then they look at me and they look at my earning potential and they say, wow, now that we know how much you earn, we're going to impose an exit tax on you to be able to leave. In other words, we're going to charge you to leave the country, to renounce your citizenship. That, you know what that is? That's the same thing, like that's being a slave. I am a slave. We are all slaves in this country. Because you cannot leave without having to buy your freedom. Now, back in the days when we had slaves in this country, that was an option too. If you were a slave, back in the day, in this country, you could buy your freedom. But most slaves couldn't get enough money to do that, so it never happened. Very rarely was a slave able to buy his freedom. This is no different. The government owns you. Another insidious institution that owns us. That doesn't mean we can't have a better life, but we have to take our life in our own hands. So yeah, the government would look at me and they would say, oh, you make this much money. If you want to renounce your citizenship, you have to pay us this amount of money to buy your freedom. Amazing, amazing. Think you're free in this country? You're not. So the only thing you can do is make your life better by making more money. And in order to do that, you have to reprogram your brain. Society, the people around you. Let's talk about the people around you, because this pisses me off too. Big time. I got another email from a guy. I wish I would have printed it out. Say, Kinghuman, I just joined your Kinghuman Elite. I see so much actionable material in there. I'm really excited. But every time I get on the computer and start to do anything, my girlfriend gets in my ear and starts saying, that'll never work. You'll never make a dime. Blah, 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 blah. What should I do? Well, my advice to him was give her the boot. Give her the brush. She's toxic. She's holding you down. There are people around you that will hold you down. It's like being in an ocean, in the middle of the ocean, amongst a bunch of drowning people. But you can swim. What's going to happen? These drowning people are going to come up to you and grab onto you because they're in a panic. They're going to grab onto you and they're going to pull you down and you're going to drown with them. You've got to get away from the toxic people that are telling you what you cannot do in life. Because what's happening is that's subliminal programming that's going into your head. You have to understand the psychological dynamics that are going on here. If you keep getting negative input and everything around you is telling you, it's giving you limiting behavior input. In other words, you can't do this, you can't do that. You must go here and get a good job. You must learn this to get a good job. Everything around you is telling you what you cannot do. You don't go to high school, go to any high school and try to take Becoming an Independent Millionaire 101. That class doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in any college. How to become an independent millionaire. How to become a businessman. Yeah, they've got some business courses, but it's bullshit. People, these societal constructs do not want you to be independent, and even the people around you do not want you to become independent and successful. Why? Because it threatens them. Now, the people around you, they don't mean harm. They're just parroting the shit that they've been fed all their life, and they believe it. It's ingrained in their psychological makeup. They have to believe it. Otherwise, they'd suddenly wake up and say, I don't have to put up with this shit. I can make a better life for myself by making my own career, by being my own boss. But it doesn't happen. So those people will be just like this guy's girlfriend, and they'll just yammer and you can't do that. That would be, it doesn't work. You'll never do it. I hate those people. Get away from them. They're toxic. Also, if you're working at a job, if you're working in a factory, whatever the hell you're doing, and at the end of the day, you clock out and you go with your buddies and you sit in the bar, and all they have to talk about is football, or this football player, this basketball player, or did you see that game? That's a bunch of losers. You need to get away from that shit. It's toxic too. It will not advance you. It will not empower you. It's meant to keep you asleep and a battery in the matrix, because those people have nothing to contribute. They can't even relate to each other unless they talk about some idiot stranger they don't even know. And the guy they're talking about is making millions of dollars while they're hammering on something on an assembly line or some shit. You know, instead of looking at that and saying, wow, look at these guys making millions of dollars. How can we make millions of dollars? No. Hey, did you see that shot that blah made from the 50-yard line? Blah. What a bunch of bullshit. That's going to keep you down. You need to get away from people that are limiting you and programming you with limiting input, because all that does is it just reinforces the shit that you've been taught since birth. And you don't need that. You need to learn how to think differently. Who was it? Einstein said, you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. If you're doing the same, if you want to change your life, you have to change your life. That means changing your thinking, changing the people that influence you, and not believing their bullshit. Because those people have been programmed from birth too. So you need to do something different, right? So you need to realign your thinking. Now let's think about this. First thing I want you to do to change your psychological makeup and your thinking dynamics is decide what you want to do. There it is. Decide what you want out of life, and then laser focus on how to get it. You know, your brain is a limited resource. It's a finite resource. First of all, as humans, we only use a small percentage of our brain capacity. We're only like 3 hairs away from being baboons in the evolutionary scale of things. We should be geniuses, all of us, but we're not there yet. So we're only using a small percentage of our brain. But we use even less of that because we limit our thinking. And you scatter yourself, so we only have a small amount of brain power that we can devote to anything. But most of us are all scattered in our thinking. You have to rein that in, become laser focused on one thing that you want, and then go after it and learn how to make it happen and make it happen. Go after that. That's what it takes. And that's just one small thing. That's just one small thing that you have to do. Now, all of these things I'm saying, they're very painful. It's very painful to get away from the toxic influences in your life. You know, if the people around you, that your friends, your family, whatever, if they're being a toxic influence on you, to get away from them is very painful. And some of you might not be able to get away from them. But what you can do instead is every time somebody around you hits you with a negative programming input, like, oh, that'll never happen. You'll never make that work. That's not gonna work. You're no good at that. You'll never be whatever. Immediately in your mind, I want you to negate that input by saying, this guy's an idiot. I don't believe what he's saying. You don't have to say it out loud. Just say it in your mind. This guy's an idiot. I do not recognize him as an authority on what's good for me and my life. I do not believe what he is saying. And then replace it, again mentally, with a positive, empowering reinforcement like, I can make this work, I know I can make this work, and I'm going to put everything I have into making it work. Because that's going to get me where I need to be. I see other people doing it, and they're no better than I am. So I know I can do it. It's just going to take time, effort, and I'm going to follow through. And if you keep substituting the negative input with positive input, you're going to counteract the programming that you get on a daily basis. Now, what's going to happen once you remove yourself from the negative toxic input that programs you on a subconscious level? What's going to happen is once that stops coming into your head, you're going to start taking risks, and you're going to start believing in yourself, and you're going to start doing things that will take you where you need to go. Now, there'll be small things at first, small steps, baby steps, right? But they'll succeed, and you'll get validation and reinforcement. Oh, wow, that little thing I tried worked. And then you'll start taking bigger steps and bigger risks and bigger actions. And those will work. A few of them will work. Not all of them. Not everything works in life. But, oh wow, that thing I just did that everybody told me I couldn't do, I just did it on some level. That tells me I can go for even bigger things. And then you make the next step. So it's just like I said, the analogy is a little baby, right? That's learning how to walk. He takes baby steps. Now, if you're a child and you don't know any different, and you're constantly being told, don't try to walk, you can't walk, you'll never walk, don't walk, you'll never learn to walk. But if a baby is encouraged, he'll start taking baby steps, and he'll get some success. And then he'll keep doing it, and he'll start taking bigger strides, and he'll become more stable. And then he'll learn how to run eventually. That's what you need to do. You need to tell yourself you can become a runner. You just need to go through the process. You just need to get excited and empower yourself. And stop the negative input. Get away from the toxic influences of people that are telling you you cannot do something. Take your brain and laser focus it on a goal and learn how to get to that goal and totally put all of your energy into that. And see if you can't start logging some successes, and that's going to validate you. Don't listen to the people that are bugging you, say, oh, it's not going to work. Screw them. They want to keep you down. Because if you succeed, if you're a peer, if you're on the same level as these people, and you succeed, it threatens them because they now have no excuse why they can't succeed. And it challenges them. It makes them, now they've got an inner conflict in their head, and they're going, oh my God, this guy, who was my buddy for years, we're equals. We went to the same high school. We got the same education. We got everything is the same. And now he's a multimillionaire. Why am I not a multimillionaire? And they're going to have a fit in their own head. Their psychological makeup is going to be in conflict because there's going to be a schism between their programming, which told them all their life what they could not achieve, and now they see what you've achieved. You've become a multimillionaire. And there's a conflict. Well, wait a minute. Why can that guy do it and I can't? That's why most people want to keep you down. They just don't want people around them to succeed because it challenges. It's obviously this is all on their subconscious level. They don't consciously say, dude, I don't want you to succeed because I don't want to have to be put to the test. I'm comfortable being a battery in the matrix. They don't consciously say that. It's all subconscious programming. Okay, I'm talking way too much. But I hope I've wakened up a few of you, and you can escape the matrix. Stop being a battery in the matrix. Now, you're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need to reprogram your brain, and you're going to need some instrumentality on how to change your life. Hopefully, I can give you both of those things. All right, I'm outie. Donate a few bucks to help a sick kid at St. Jude's Research Hospital for Kids. What could be better? That's another thing you got to do to be a success. You got to be compassionate towards other people that are less fortunate than you. So get on it. All right, people. Bayonara.